Hello, everyone. Yuval Teren is here, a communication coach and human analyst. And we are here with a unique artist named Marco Santini, an award-winning international impact artist. He has collaborated with brands all around the world, like United Nations, Bloomingdale's, and celebrities like Ringo Starr, Matt Morrison, and Chris Martin. And we're having the pleasure of having him with us today on the show. Live your best self. So, Marco, how are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm grateful to be here. Thank you so much. Feeling awesome, working on a lot of great stuff, and excited to talk with you.
Yes, I'm very excited for you to be here on the show. So, the idea of how it will go is basically we would hear a little bit about you. What are you currently doing in your life with your interesting life? And then we're going to track back into learn your story that brought you into doing the special things that you're currently doing. So, maybe share with us a little bit about you. What are you currently doing? And then we're going to start to dive deep into your story.
Well, I think the best part about being an artist is having creative freedom to do all different types of projects, and that's currently what I'm working on. I just was finishing up a large painting for a school where I took words that were important to the school, painted them into a large piece. I'm going to be presenting that to them tomorrow. I also focus on cutting up really rare, valuable signed books and turning them into works of art. I am about to paint a wedding in a few weeks at Cipriani in New York City, where I ask people a question or a word about the couple, and then they give it to me and I incorporate in the painting. So I do a lot of different things and I really enjoy that, but I feel like at the heart of what I do is connection. I really believe that art is about storytelling and being able to collaborate with people in interesting ways and share their stories through artwork is really what motivates me and keeps me going.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's fascinating. You already got our interest in what you're doing. So I want to track back to your story. So where does it all begin? Where is your journey
Oof.
into art begins?
So I grew up in a very creative household. My father is an architect. My mother was a choreographer. And it was just beautiful art, really, really colorful, fun, unique place. My dad designed our house. And I really date back my interest and creativity in art really to my mother, who would very often say, when she saw me doing random things, she wouldn't ask me what I was doing. She would ask me why I was doing. And I feel like from an early age that forced me to think about why am I throwing this or mixing that or doing all these crazy things. And it just got me going. So I've always considered myself a creative experimenter and tinkerer. I just really didn't know that art could be a full-time profession. I went to Brown University to study linguistic anthropology. I was right next door to RISD, and I didn't even take any classes there. I only took 2 art classes at Brown, and I feel like it was because I wasn't mature enough to handle critique or feedback at that time. I was just kind of still exploring. But I guess my real deep dive into art was when I was living in New York City, and I had a kind of a big switch in my life where I decided to invest in myself. Anytime I went to a birthday, a wedding, anytime I went to a party and I had to buy someone a gift, I decided I was going to actually create something for that person. And so not only was I investing money in myself, but I was pushing my creative limits, trying to make something unique and interesting. It started out well with birthdays and parties, but then it got into weddings. And for weddings, I would take a photo of the couple, either an engagement photo or a photo of the couple during the wedding, and I would paint everything around them in this hyper fantasy, colorful, word-filled design, but I keep the couple in complete reality. I believe that love is a balance between fantasy and reality. It's kind of this interwoven idea. And it was in those wedding paintings, crazy to look back on it, but it was in those wedding paintings that really taught me how to value my time, my energy, my work, because I started to get asked, hey, can you do this for my wedding? Hey, my friend's getting married. Can I hire you to do this? And so it taught me how to value my time, how to try to price works, and really got me going and saying, I've got something special here. I need to mature it and nurture it. I continue learning every day. But it was really that of openness, I would say, to creative opportunities through gift giving that really turned me onto the art world.
That's beautiful. As someone that comes from the performance world, I would say the stage art world myself. So I know that doing something that is unique is our soul can't. That's the path of our soul. I would say that, and sometimes I think it's hard to understand if we look at, for example, at your art. What is the idea behind art? Why do people want to buy art? What's the idea behind it?
There's a lot of different
Um,
ideas for that. I've recently had a few different shows, and I've met a lot of people who look at art as an investment, that it goes up on average higher than most markets. And so I've had people who've purchased my work as an investment opportunity. But I would say more likely than not, art, as like I said, is about storytelling. People want to share that, they want to be part of the creative process, and they want to support people that they believe in. I mean, the other big turning point in my life was uh, when I created this One Love logo. So I studied linguistics. I had no idea what I was going to do with it. And one night I came back, I was tutoring and mentoring students at the time. I came back to my studio and I just had read a passage about language. I'm like, I studied linguistics, and I took the word love and I wrote as many languages as I could, and I wrote them all down. Then I used Google Translate, create all these others. And I just looked at these words together. And I'm like, how beautiful is it that they're all so visually different, but really sharing the same idea? And so this is back in 2018, I took many different languages, I put them together in this One Love logo. I had Turkish next to Armenian, Arabic next to Hebrew, Russian next to Ukrainian, even back then. And I showed it to a few people, and it resonated with these people in such a way, much stronger than anything I'd ever created before. So I felt like I had something. And at the time I was like, in 2018, the city was a little bit intense politically, economically, socially. Like there's a lot of craziness going on. And I just felt like we needed more love in New York City. So I did this Spread Love campaign where I put up all these stickers and all these wheat paste posters, albeit illegally, throughout New York City. I'd say like, I heart Williamsburg, I heart Soho, I heart FIDI, really to just spread love. And the biggest risk I took in my professional career was putting my Instagram handle on those wheat paste posters and stickers, because I didn't necessarily want to be caught by the cops or caught by any building owners who didn't appreciate it, but I wanted to be seen and have people be able to share it. And it just exploded. Within a few weeks, I was painting at Fortune 500 and charities and weddings and galas and bar mitzvahs and concerts and restaurants. Like people just really appreciated this messaging, and I was able to communicate something when I wasn't there. And I felt like that was my really first big win in terms of creating a design, a logo, a emblem that is true to who I am, true to what I believe in, and just something that really resonated powerfully with people.
The way I hear it, the subtext that of the story that you're sharing with us is, and that's the way I see it also. I think you said there are many ways of why to buy art, but I think one of the most amazing reasons is that people can connect with it on a deeper level. It gives them a higher meaning, and people can get inspired from it when they buy a piece of art and they have it at home, or they go to a gallery and they look at the different arts. They can get inspired. They can learn, take many things and interpret them into their own world also from the artist's mind.
Absolutely.
So
There's like a superficial level of like, does this look cool or not? Would I like this in my home or office or bedroom? But on a deeper level, once you understand the story, once you understand the artist, once you get the full perspective, that is, I feel like, what really shifts people to believe. And also, kind of building on your point, I believe that people also buy art to support artists. I really believe strongly in this fact that I'm just so grateful for everyone who's ever supported me in any way, big, small, anything, because they're saying, not only do I love what you're creating, but I want you to keep creating. I want you to keep unleashing all these creative ideas, and just that inching closer toward creative freedom really speaks to my soul. It allows me to kind of create without worry, without fear, without any limitations. I think every artist should feel that in some way, to just see what happens.
is there any artist, dead or alive, that you look at, or maybe at the beginning of your way, you looked at them and you were inspired, or still today they still give you inspiration?
There's so many artists that I really look up to and I'm inspired by. I think initially I was very inspired by Keith Haring, his ability to communicate very complex ideas in very simple ways that transcended language barriers. I thought was really remarkable, and I really did kind of morph his design. And into my own design. I call it my geometric motif, and it's very much the hidden interweavings between many of my words and designs. I look at mine a little bit more as like a digital circuitry design, not as many curves as he did, but it's kind of like circles and lines to really kind of blend this idea of digital and physical. And then I also very much really look up to Shepard Fairey. I think he's done an incredible job being able to not only coming out of RISD, but being able to capture a broad market. He's able to sell prints and stickers and T-shirts at very, very low price points, and then do massive high-end individual paintings and murals. And I just feel like he's able to speak to the entire community and all the people who like him. He's also very politically driven and just really getting the people to speak and understand. I really very much am inspired by his messaging.
You shared with us at the beginning that your mom asked you, why are you doing those things? So why are you doing art? What is the reason behind it? What is your deeper meaning
there's
in
many.
doing it?
That's a good one. There's many answers to that. I think a younger, more immature version of myself would say I'm an artist because I don't want to have a boss, and I want to be able to work on my own and be able to kind of spread my wings. But I feel like more maturely and more impactfully, I really feel that I have something positive to share with people, and I love bringing people into the conversation. I feel like, as I said, art is about storytelling. There's so many beautiful stories to share. When I started out with these wedding paintings, I would sometimes present this to people and they would cry. Like, they would just be so moved by what I did. And it still happens to this day when I do these, one love paintings. I've done one for a person who survived cancer, surprise birthday or wedding or anniversary gifts. And to see, very often I'll ask many, many people, what does this person mean to you? Give me a word that's important to you. And I collect all these words and I'll have a key on the back of the painting about who said what. And it's a very touching idea to have all these people say something beautiful about you or have a wish about you. And so I believe that I create I say that I mirror the spirit of communities around the world. I love to go in. I think that's part of the studies in terms of linguistic anthropology, but I really love to understand different perspectives, and I love to showcase back what I'm hearing in a creative medium.
How do you come up with the art that you're creating? Do you have any ritual, anything going on? How the idea comes to you?
So I work in different mediums, and so I'd say there's different ideas. My biggest focus recently has been these book designs. So I did a lot of live painting leading up to COVID, and when COVID came, kind of shut down live painting, and I never went to art school. So I said, I want to study the greats. I want to learn why these icons are so iconic today. Why are we still talking about them? So I started reading all these bios and watching all these documentaries, and I learned that the iconic artists really had three major things in common. One, they all had a group of friends, like a crew that they ran ideas off of or sometimes stole ideas from. Secondly, they had a new style, a new medium, a new ism that they were working on that was kind of just very different, new way of seeing the world. And then thirdly, they were met with a lot of pushback, a lot of critique when they did have this new idea. And as I was doing this, I was just getting so inspired, and I wanted to be in their presence. There's just like a part of me that physically wanted to be where they were. And at the time, they were all passed away: Picasso, O'Keeffe, Warhol, Dali, Herring, Lichtenstein, you name it. And so I done this big job for a law firm for Google and Facebook right before COVID, and that afforded me the opportunity to purchase books that were actually signed by these icons. So I'd read through a book about Dali that was signed by him, try to understand everything about it. And as I'm going through this, and I was doing a lot of magazine and book work before, but I'm like, these books are so rare, they're so valuable, and yet they're sitting on a bookshelf. They were sitting in my closet at the time, not being appreciated, gathering dust, waiting to wither away. And I'm like, these need to be appreciated for the majestic visual displays that they are. And so I did something very controversial, but I would argue very respectful. I cut up these books. And I did so very much in a respectful way, in a way that honored and showcased the spirit of the book. It's very much an uncovering. I feel like that's true when I'm working with interactive designs. I'm uncovering what people say, and in these books, I'm uncovering the story within the soul within these books, and I cut them up and I make visual displays out of them. And it was met with a lot of positive feedback. I showed it to Marcus Fox at Christie's, who said he'd never seen anything like it before. He called it a new art category. I'm calling it illuminism, this idea of shining a light objectively onto a subject and unearthing the visual essence of what it has to share. And specifically, this cross-generational collaboration where it's signed by this artist, it's signed by me, just gives it added weight, added value, added interest that I've really found a lot of success with, not only creating books that I'm inspired by, but also having people send me books. So really the inspiration for this and a lot of projects, to specifically answer your question, has come out of curiosity, not out of education, wanting to understand, wanting to learn more.
It makes me curious to see all of those things that you are currently inspired by and doing today. And as a kid, what was your dream as a kid? What were you dreaming about? Was it art or was it something else? Or as if we take you the youngest that you can remember that your dream
Oh
was?
man, I had many different dreams. I think it always involved a creative freedom. I think I wanted to be an astronaut for a while. I thought sports was my calling before I got hurt too much. I just love the idea of being like, I would go into my basement and turn into my art studio at my parents' house and just like have this freedom to test and try, and there were no rules, and I just loved that. I think that's what's beautiful about art. It's not a zero-sum game. You can win and I can win, and that's beautiful. And I support other artists. I root for other artists, and I just feel empowered when I can explore and try new things and see what happens. It's okay to fail. I've failed backwards, I've failed forwards. You try to learn from every failure, but I think there's something really inherent maybe in my soul with either parents and coaches and people just saying, telling me certain things. I just feel like we all have our past when we become, when we go from a child to adult, and we grow and we say, this is what I want to do. I'm going to make my own choices. There's beautiful freedom in that. I've always found solace in art, and I'd say I've always found my best self or flow within art. Like I would get lost painting, creating, cutting, all these ideas. Like I would just, for hours, I would forget to eat, I forget to go to the bathroom. I would, create through the night. And there was something there, it was so palpable that I just had to kind of keep going and explore and not worry about, hey, I'm not making money on it early on. I'm not selling these. Like I just had to see where that interest was going to take me.
I think it's an important message also for people that maybe begin, if it's art or anything, any kind of idea that they have that they want to make real in their life. So I think pushing and remembering that even if at the beginning it's hard, if you're going to keep moving forward, keep taking action, keep creating, and art will come out of it.
Absolutely.
It's going to be something beautiful will come out of it.
Yeah, I when I talk to younger and aspiring artists, things that I tell them they don't have to have all their plans figured out. That they should just listen to their heart, keep going, and trying whatever they want to do. At some point, you have to figure out: is it going to be something that I'm going to do personally or professionally, for myself or for other people? Really, because you could be an artist and paint your whole life and never show anybody and just do it because you love it, and that is absolutely beautiful. But when you start working with other people and selling and kind of all the intricacies within, it kind of can change the narrative a little bit. I think it's really important to stay true to yourself. I believe that creativity, specifically art, when I'm working with commissions, is kind of like this tango. Like sometimes the client will lead, sometimes I will lead, but it can't be 100% them. Like it can't be, hey, go create this exact logo this exact way, at least for me. Because I'm like, you can go print that, you can go work with someone else. Like I need to put my own creative twist. That's what gets me excited. I think that's the difference between a starving artist and a successful artist, is that a starving artist will take whatever comes their way and do it because they're trying to figure it out. They're looking for income, creative avenues. They just like whatever it is. And I think as you mature in your creative journey, you develop the power to say no. And it's okay not to take every project and not to be jealous for the people who do certain things because you're working on your own thing. So it's this kind of balance between living in the moment and creating freely, but also having an idea of where you want to go with it.
Marco, if you look back at all of your path, do you remember any turning point that elevated your career, that made, this tiny shift that from there you started to accelerate more and make it a career than less than if it started from, something that you like to do, then it became a career?
Yeah, I can look back and almost like resume bullet points of like certain really impactful moments. I think live painting at the United Nations was definitely a career highlight. To be in a place that really spoke to my beliefs of spreading love and positivity through art and education, being there to hear all these delegates and listening through my, in my ear a piece and like translating all the languages and painting their responses, and then being able to speak to all the delegates and tell them that their words matter. You can't just say these things like I've recorded them. This is something you have to live by, like that. And really was a turning point in terms of finding my voice and having something that is globally recognizable and just kind of as impactful as can be. I also think debuting my signature series, these cut books, these illuminated books at the Art Basel Festival Scope in 2022, where I sold my first piece within 1 hour VIP opening for more money than my first yearly salary out of college, was just kind of like, wow, like I could do this. I could do something really special. It's resonating with people in such a special way. And I don't think financially it's not, it's important, but it's not the most important. But to have someone believe in you that much and say, this is valuable, you've got something. Like I feel like as an artist, you try to have this balance of like listening to others, listening to yourself, and you can't get too high and too low. And I kind of try to give this like focused kind of stoic mentality. But it's obviously really amazing when you have a sale and when some people believe in it. But I feel like the validation has to come from within. It can't come from without. So I think that was really, really big. And then there was one really interesting story that's kind of a turning point. I looked to these like level up moments in my life, and there's one beautiful story that I feel like will come to fruition very soon in a bigger way. But the gist of it was I had this a friend and mentor who really had liked my work, and he got invited to this Christie's Art and Tech Summit, and he couldn't go, and so they gave me his ticket. And I was so grateful, and I got ready. I'm in the Uber in the way into the city, and I get a call from this guy saying, "Hey, I can't transfer you my ticket. It only has to be my name." And I'm like, I'm in the car. I got a babysitter for my son. Like, I've planned all this stuff. Like, what am I going to do? And I'm like, this is my new challenge. Like, I'm not going in with malice or, ill will, but I need to find a way into this event. And the biggest names in the NFT crypto art world were there. Beeple, Sam Spratt, Snowfro, Redbeard, all these people I appreciate and look up to. And I get to the front desk and they ask me, whose name is your ticket under? They didn't ask me what my name was. And this is Christie's, the biggest like auction house in the world. And I said my contact's name, and someone else heard that and was like, "Oh, come over here! Like you're kind of like a VIP, like," and brought me over, gave me a ticket. I walked right in, and then I ended up meeting some of my biggest aspirations. I mean, I got to meet Beeple, the NFT artist who sold for $69 million that single JPEG a few years ago. I had actually created a book. I found a signed book of his, and I created artwork out of it. I posted it on then Twitter, now X, and he saw it. He reposted it, said it was a massive honor. And then I met him in the commissary, and he's like, "Oh, you're the guy who cut up my book." And he pulls up the photo, and we had this moment. And I told him I wanted to gift the piece to him, and he invited me and my wife down to his incredible art studio compound / museum in South Carolina. But it was that idea, back to your question, like, I on the surface of it, I snuck into Christie's and met some incredible people through this amazing event, but it wasn't out of me trying to be, doing something wrong. It was just I believe so strongly in what I'm doing that I was meant to be there, even though I wasn't necessarily invited. And so I have this vision that one day, when my art is selling at Christie's and have, a bigger audience, a bigger international recognition, that this will come to light and be a very funny story looking back, almost the way that you hear like Steven Spielberg snuck onto his first movie set, and like all these people kind of following what it was their calling because they just believe so much in what they're doing.
You said something beautiful. You said I was meant to be there, even though I wasn't invited. So I think it's an important message for people to remember that the self-belief, like the belief in ourselves, knowing our value, our worth, is the strongest tool for success. Knowing where are we meant to be and knowing our future and dream big. And we can hear from you. You're a big dreamer from as a young kid, have so many dreams. And fulfilling ourselves and our dreams by believing in who we are and in our value is something that will elevate our life and our career and everything we
In
do.
every way, absolutely. And I think even building on that, as an artist, it's also a tough lesson to learn, but I think finding your audience is really important. Not everyone is going to like your stuff, and that's okay. Not everyone is going to be willing to pay what you're asking for, and that's okay. How much are you willing to negotiate? How much are you willing to say, this is what it is, this is what it stands for? Like, you find your audience. And I think in starting out, my earlier, more immature self, I was a little bit worried. Oh, I want everyone to like me. I want everyone to like this style. I want to be appreciated. I want to be respected. And it wasn't until I started appreciating, respecting myself and saying, this is awesome, and I believe in it. It doesn't matter who else believes in it. I'm going to find those people along the way. Because at least in a professional sense, you do depend on your supporters to kind of help you through. And I just had this deep belief in myself that it was going to work and that I had something that I need to explore.
Beautiful. As humans, we always have ups and downs, and sometimes in those down moments, many people have a hard time to recover and keep on moving forward from those moments. Do you have anything that you experience or
Oh,
any
yeah.
tool that you can share or a trick that you do to help people move out of this down state and move up?
Absolutely. I mean, I think up and downs, like you said, are a natural part of life, and we are often measured by how we respond to our failures rather than how we respond to our wins. And I think it's a big part of my life not to react, but to try to act from my own beliefs. But specifically, I try to do this, and I feel like I am not perfect at it, but it definitely helps, which is when I get down, I do one of two things. One, I try to help other people, family, friends, strangers, people who are looking for advice. Like I feel like the act of giving and making someone else happy or helping them out kind of lifts the self. And then secondly, related to that in some sense, I think looking for inspiration. Like if I'm frustrated with the creative process and I can't get something out, or I'm trying to work on something that's just not working, like taking a step back and looking at other things, maybe not even related, but it could be other artworks, other books, other creative mediums, like just finding inspiration, finding a respect for other people who've done it that you like, kind of takes, I think both of these examples takes the magnifying glass off yourself and turns it outward. And it's through that you realize it wasn't that bad or it wasn't super frustrating, kind of allows you to get some distance between you and your issue that maybe some perspectives can kind of fill in.
Beautiful. So in a moment, we'll summarize a little bit of our conversation, but in a moment, I would love you to share with us maybe a quote or something that you want our listeners to remember in their career path, in their dream path. Maybe something that you want them to take with them from our conversation. So, we learned about you. You started from a dreamer as a kid, and you started doing art and start do many things, and then you kept on moving forward and you worked with big companies and celebrities, and now you're doing such an amazing work. And I know you shared with me a little bit, you told me that you draw art in schools around, right?
I do, yeah.
Can you share with us a little bit about it?
I've painted over 25 different schools all around the world. I feel not only because I believe in education, but because I was working as a tutor and mentor, I feel like it's really important to connect with the youth in a way that shows them that creativity is available to them. I'll go to places where people, don't consider themselves autistic, don't ever draw, and just the process of sitting down and trying something new can really get them in flow, can get them thinking in a new way. And I think that that's really important just to see as a possibility, and also to give them an idea, like art as a profession is a possibility. There are ways. You look around us, everything, from what we wear to what we see to what we hang on our wall to what we buy in the stores, everything goes through a creative process. To answer your earlier question, I would say that I don't necessarily have a quote that I have many quotes I live by, but I think one thing that has really started to take shape in my life and has changed many times is the idea of what success means to you. I think having some kind of idea rather than just like shooting blanks all in different places, like where are you trying to go? And if you pivot from that, that's okay, but having an idea of what you think that is. And I have a series called Illuminated where I interview living artists who have books out, and then I create works out of them. People was one of them. And I love to ask them what success means to them. I've only had 4 episodes, but all 4 people said 4 totally different things, and it's made me think about how each of them had beautiful ways of saying it and how it relates to my own idea. Because I used to say, at least professionally, success is creating what I want, when I want, from where I want. And I still believe that creative freedom. But I think there's many different ways of looking at it. I was really inspired by what people had told me, that success is very superficial in many regards, but true success is basically doing the thing that you were meant to do and only you can do, and really answering your inner calling, whatever that is. And I felt really, really moved by that. The last author I interviewed, Feroz Vyar, is an incredible human. Started the India Inclusion Summit, works at SAP. I'm actually going to be collaborating with him this summer. He said that success is kind of a blending of mind, body, soul, but kind of throughout your life, throughout your day, not just a single moment. It's kind of aligning your mind, body, and soul. I thought that was really, really beautiful. And one thing I want to say, I don't know if we're where we are in the interview, but I think one thing that really interested me specifically in your podcast is that this idea of your best self, living your best self, that is very, very important to me. I think one way I also define success is like living the life that you choose, and maybe that's a 9 to 5, maybe it's not. Maybe it's being able to pick up your kids, and maybe it's not. Like, I define my success in the life that I want to live. But the first time I ever kind of came across those words was not in a professional sense, but actually in a personal sense. I was single and trying to figure out my love life, and I realized that I needed to be my best self and work on the things that I wanted to improve on in my own life before I could find the perfect partner. And it just so happens that after I, was eating healthier and working out more and kind of studying more and kind of focusing on all the things I really believed in my life, that I found the love of my life, and it kind of all aligned. And I felt like it was a really beautiful story that's difficult to express the full, importance of, but becoming your best self, whatever that is, like you said, moving forward every day in some way, and being okay with the setbacks and the difficulties, but working towards something that you feel you are proud of is something I'd love to leave the audience with.
I love it. That's amazing. You gave us so many inspiration and great stories to learn from your own personal path and your own journey, because it's amazing to see how you created something from only your skills, from who you are. You bring basically yourself. And that's, I think, the most important thing for people to remember, is to ask yourself, what are the things that I'm good at? What are the things that my skills are meant to do here in this world? Where am I meant to be? As you said,
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love it. So, Marco, I want to thank you for being with us, sharing with us such a great story, great inspiration, doing such an amazing job by inspiring others and creating art that makes people shift their perspective and become better people. So I love it. Thank you very much for being with us on the show.
Thank you so much. I really had a great time.
Yes. And hopefully I'll see you in one of the gallery shows or any other opportunity around.
Absolutely. I'll see you soon.
See you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.